Hi guys, it's your girl Michelle and welcome back to Trenette Talks. So, a lot has happened since I've last updated you guys, including me trying to go to court, and it didn't go how I expected. As I told you guys, I had T coming with me to court. We thought it was just going to be that. Like, we knew that Geronimo was going to be mad, but I didn't think that he would go as far as he did. Today is June 26, 2025. We had court 2 days ago on the 24th. Court did not start till 9 o'clock, but the doors open at 8:30. So I got there around 7:30, and whenever I pulled up, he was already there. T had texted me, and she was like, I'm going to be there in 20 minutes. And I said, okay. I said, try not to park near him because I don't want him, going crazy or whatever. So she didn't realize what his car looked like. She was just looking for a handicap spot. She parked in a handicap spot, and ironically, it was near him. So this lady did not even get out the car yet before he jumped out of his car and was banging on her window. What the F are you doing here? You not finna be here telling all my past business. I'm finna call the cops on you. They finna throw you in jail. What are we calling the cops for? Like, be so for real. This is an elderly woman, and you calling the cops on her. So I didn't hear any of this because I parked away from him, because whenever I pulled up, I saw him. So I parked on the opposite side. So she was texting me. She was like, Michelle, he's calling the cops on me. And I'm like, are you serious? There is no reason to call the cops. So she said that he was yelling on the phone with the cops, like, y'all need to get over here. She getting out the car right now. Y'all better come get her. Y'all better come get her. Like, either he was trying to insinuate that she was a threat to him, or, I really don't know how an elder lady is a threat to a young 25-year-old man, but whatever. Or he was trying to insinuate if they didn't come get her, he was going to do something to her. I don't know how the cops perceived it, because 4 officers showed up in like 3 minutes flat. I come out the car because I see all the cops, and I walk up to the front door where T was. And an officer comes up to me, and he was like, look, we finna keep things civil. He was like, I'm here to protect you, but I'm also here to protect him. He said, don't y'all have reciprocal restraining orders on each other? And I said, no. I only have one on him. He doesn't have one on me. And then he just looked at me, and then he walked away. So Geronimo lied to all of them and told them that he has a protective order against me. But that's funny because I never got served with one. So what do you mean? That cop went back to him, and he was just yelling and screaming with all the officers trying to plead his case, And another cop came up to us, and he was taking our statement. And he was like, so I just have to ask, like, why is he that upset that this woman is here? And I said, I really can't tell you. I said, she's only here as my support. But I feel like he's so mad because she was around whenever he was going through these same things with his ex-wife. So it's like she knows a lot about him. And, he likes to lie about stuff. So she knows the truth, and that scares him. And the cop, he was like, oh, like it started clicking in his head why he was so mad, because he's not mad. He's scared. That's what he really is. So the cop was like, oh, okay. And we started running into the cop about all he's doing, because he called the cops to make himself look innocent. So I'm telling the cop, like, he didn't legally kidnap my baby for a night. He withheld the car seat and the diaper bag from me. I had no formula, no milk. The baby didn't eat that morning. Like, he kept everything from him, and I had to wait over an hour sitting in the car for my mama to bring me another car seat. I was telling him everything. I got 5 police in the span of a couple weeks. I have 5 police reports on him in 3 different parishes. And he was like, Jesus Christ. I said, yeah. So y'all thinking he's innocent, but he's not. So he took our report, and he gave me a file number, but I didn't call the cops. So I was like, did they give him one too? Because I don't know how all this stuff works. But once he got all his frustrations out, he and 2 other officers, they walked up to the front door, because we still had about 5 minutes before the courthouse opened. So He get up there with the cops, and he laughing with one of the officers talking about cop stuff like he knows so much, you know. And at one point, he was like, yeah, I only lash out like this from time to time whenever it concerns my child because I don't play behind my child. And the cop just eating it up. I understand. I don't play by. Girl, shut up. Shut up. And I just have to look over there. I don't care because you telling people you don't play behind your child. But the reason why we're in all this mess to begin with is because you want nothing to do with your child. Like, is this the same man that literally told me if I did not get back with him in 3 days, my child does not have a father? The same man that legally kidnapped my child because he was mad about child support and told his grandma that if she stopped him from taking the child, he was going to beat her down. And so he took my child for a night. Whenever he got served with a protective order and I got my child back, he lied to the cops and said he paid for the car seat. So I was not getting it back when he knows whenever me and him were separated while I was pregnant for 6 months, I paid $120 for my car seat and my stroller. He didn't pay a dime. So you left us in the heat. No bottles, no milk, no formula. He hadn't ate that morning. And you took the car seat just to inconvenience me, but you're really hurting your child. You refuse to watch my child when I ask you. When I do ask you, I'll say, let me know when you're off so you can see your child. You say, haha, I'm never off. You don't help pay for daycare. You don't help buy him anything. But that's your child, and you don't play behind your child. Wow. I was just bewildered when I heard that, you guys. So anyway, he said that. And then the cop told him something else, but I couldn't really make out what she said. But he said, oh, you must not know. I'm real favored here, so I'm not worried about this courthouse. I'm not worried at all. I said, okay. So I took out my pen. I took out my little notebook I brought, and I wrote down what he said. I wrote down what he said word for word, and I put the time that he said it. And I mentioned that in court because the reason why I dropped the first order is because he was threatening me, and he told me that he went to the judge, that's his friend, and she's going to do whatever he wants her to do, basically. He went to the judge, he went to the clerk of court's office, so whenever we go to court, I'm going to go to jail, basically just because he said so, and he showed them videos of me that he altered to make it look like I was the aggressor and stuff like that. So he kind of had me convinced. And then he was trying to make it seem like I was going to jail because I threw away his protective order paperwork. And he said that's official something. Like, he made it sound serious. Like, you can actually get a felony for tampering with protective order paperwork. But the funny thing is, I didn't throw it away. And you have no video evidence of me throwing it away. But he claimed that he told his favorite judge and he told the clerks all of this and they believed him, and that whenever I came to court, I was going to go to jail. I don't know why I believe that, to be honest, but he had like some paperwork that made it seem believable. And I just went ahead and dropped the order. I said, okay, if you're going to co-parent with me, then, we don't have to go to court for this. That's fine. And he said, yes, I'll co-parent with you. And then boom, the second I dropped it, he started going crazy. Like, crazy. So that's why I filed again, and now we're in the situation we're in. So he told the cops that, and I was like, wow, I made sure to write that down because I'm bringing that up at the next court date. The door is open. We went in. I went in through the metal detector. T went in. Everything was fine. Well, she had to go through a couple times because they didn't know she had hip replacements and everything. So they was like, why are you going off? Why is there so much metal being shown? She was like, I'm all metal. Like, I got new everything. So she ended up being fine. And he had his pastor with him, and she didn't know if she could have her phone, and she did have it. So they told her go put it in the car, and she easily went to the car. So Geronimo was right behind her, and he tried to walk through with his phone. And the same cop that told me, hey, look, we gonna be civil and all this and that, like I was the problem, he had to get on Geronimo. Because Geronimo walked through with the phone, and the cop told him to go put it in the car. And he said, I need my phone as evidence. I'm not going to put it in the car. And the cop was like, I don't care. Go put it in the car. And he was like, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to Cody. which is one of his cop friends that, he be trying to get to do his dirty work. So the cop was like, I don't care who you talking to. I said, go put it in the car. So he was finna say something else, but his pastor grabbed him and just turned him around and made him go put it in the car. We go into the courtroom, and he was just saying that he is not worried about nothing that happens in this courtroom. So why are you walking in looking all nervous, got your pastor holding your hand like you just so scared? I thought you said you had nothing to worry about, Boogie. Like, what's going on? The funny thing is, he had his pastor with him. And then the two cops that were talking to him outside, they followed him to the courtroom. And I'm like, what? What is this for? Because y'all acting like he need a bodyguard. Who he need protection from? It ain't me. It ain't the old lady that I had with me. So what's going on? They stayed for a little while. I really don't know how long they stayed. But I guess once they saw nothing was going to happen. And why would something happen at court? Anyway, that's dumb. But whatever. So they ended up leaving. And they called everybody names for roll, whatever. The hearing officer came in and she started going down the line with the cases. And it was going pretty fast because everybody either continued their case or they figured it out offline and stuff like that. And I'm like, dang. I was like, we finna go up there pretty fast. Like, I like to see people go with their cases before me so I can know, like, how the process goes. But, like, everybody was like, they lawyers was there. Oh, yeah, I'm here in their presence. They did this offline. They did that offline. Like, we're good. And I'm like, oh, my gosh. I was like, this going too fast. I'm scared. So they ended up calling my name and his name, and we both stayed here. And she asked me, she was like, Michelle, did Iris screen your case? And Iris is a domestic violence center. And I said, no, ma'am. And she was like, well, she said, y'all hold tight because they're supposed to screen your case for you. And I'm like, oh, my God, here we go. Because when I had my first protective order, they told me that Iris was optional. That's if I wanted representation. And now I come here through the second time, and now you're telling me Iris is not optional. So now that's the one thing that's holding me back. So they went through a few more cases, and then they had recess to figure out some stuff, including my Iris situation. And then before recess ended, they called me up and they were like, hey, we're still going to do your case, but we're going to have to move the court date so Iris can screen you. And I'm like, ugh, this is so stupid. Like, if I don't want the representation, just let me go through with it. Like, oh my God. So I said, okay, that's fine. Whatever. And they moved my court date to July 14th. So I'm just like, bro, that's more weeks. I got to go with dealing with this. I just want it to be over. I want my protective order. I want to be done with it. But whatever. So I signed the copy. They gave me a new temporary protective order. And then they were like, we're going to serve him right now. And I said, please. And like, they were so adamant on serving him because all the other times they had to serve him with his protective order, he kept running from the police. Like, he was acting like it was a warrant and he would be running from them for days. And then they know his car by now. So if they see him at work, they try to go serve him and then boom, he gone. So they said, we're going to make sure he gets served before he leaves this courtroom today. I said, thank you. So they gave me a copy. We got the new court date. And I'm just like, man, now I got to wait a couple more weeks once again. But yeah, that's pretty much all that happened. But the funny thing is, I found out that, okay, so his mom and his grandma watched my baby for me the weekend before court. They took him Saturday because I had to work a 9 to 6. And then they kept him overnight because on Sunday I had to work a 5 to 2, or 5 in the morning. So he didn't know. He knew that they had my baby Saturday morning, but he didn't know my baby spent the night. So on Sunday, whenever his grandma came into church with my baby, he got mad. And, they were telling me that he was like causing a scene in the church. And, he took a picture of his grandma with my baby. and then said he got his evidence for court. And then he walked out of church and slammed the doors in front of everybody. They had a full congregation. So I was like, what does he mean he has his evidence for court? Like, that's not making sense. I was like, they can be around Micah. He can be around Micah, because this time Micah is not a protected person. And I said, even if Micah was protected, his people can be around Micah, but he wouldn't be allowed to be around Micah. So it wasn't adding up to me. So I just found out today that the reason why he was saying that is because he thought that I dropped off Micah to the church that morning. And I said, that makes sense, because she said, yeah, he didn't know how Micah got to church. He was assuming that you dropped him off. I said, so he really thought he ate that up by taking a picture of you with the baby and was going to come to court. That's why he wanted his phone so bad, for the picture. And he was finna come to court and lie to these people face and tell them that I purposely brought my baby to church to be around him. I said, okay, that makes sense. And so David went on to tell me that he was going around telling people that I brought the baby into the church and I tried to sit the baby in his lap. Y'all, I laughed so hard because, first of all, if I have a protective order against you, why would I come around you? 2, you already told me you want nothing to do with my child if we're not together. So why would I purposely put my child in harm's way? 3, how was I going to be there for 11:30 at your church service whenever I've been at work since 5 a.m. and didn't get off until 2 p.m.? So I'm like, just make this make sense. And I just find it so funny how he really was finna come to court and tell this lie. Like, this boy really has the nerve. And then I found out he's been sleeping at the church. And nobody knows except for his mom and his grandma. He's been sleeping at the church. And you think bringing your 3-year-old son there to sleep there with you, you don't have a bed, all you have is a couch. You think that's okay? That's not okay. And if you think you're finna get overnights with my child and you sleeping at a church, no. I'm asking for supervised visits, and it has to be supervised, heavy on supervised. During the day, no overnights. Supervised by your mama or your grandma. Crazy. Like, that's so crazy that he's sleeping at a church. I cannot wrap my mind around that. I'm not understanding why. I mean, you claim you have so much money to where you can get chest tattoos and you got braces, you getting sleeves on your arms, you paying for hotel rooms, like you just got money. But you sleeping at the church, using up all that lady electricity and running up her light bill. Wow. But yeah, guys, this is what I'm dealing with. So now that I have this information, today I'm going to go to the library and print out my work schedule from that weekend. So when he brings that up, I can just show the hearing officer that's not true. I was at work from 5 to 2. And then I'm going to find the messages where we coordinated with the grandma and the mama for them to watch him overnight for me. Like, I'm going to have to print all that out because he's ready to lie. He's ready to lie and lie and lie. So yeah, that's what I'm dealing with, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments about all of this. I'm going to be back. I'm going to be back next Monday with an episode. And I hope you guys enjoy listening. And just know that if you're going through crazy court stuff with your ex, know that you're not alone, because look at what I'm dealing with. Just listen. Like, it's crazy. So I'm going to see you guys next Monday. I hope you guys tune in, and I'm going to let you guys know what happens next. Love you guys. Bye. And protect your peace always.